I got you. Yeah. No, we won't be needing those where we're going.
Yep.
Here we are.
Say any minor table movement is gonna make that
The camera. Oh, okay, yeah.
make it wiggle.
Get my elbows off the table.
What's up, guys? How are you doing?
Here we are. Now, this card that you see. Yeah, music's still going.
Oh, I paused. Why did I pause?
I don't know, dude.
I can't. Okay. I'm good.
You had a day.
I had a very long day.
Battletech house, yes. The giant robot house. The ghost robot house.
Is there any gambling happening?
Do you gambling? We can certainly put a bet up.
Can we do bets on things that happen in the game? I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know how long a game
proposition
takes,
bet.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know how long the game would take either.
I never played this game.
I want to say games of this could be quick, or they could be slogs.
Okay.
And
we're gonna be learning it, so
correct. Yeah. So we'll get into that more.
Okay.
Now, I have what we've got tonight debuting again for the first time is the card cam. So you see this Battletech card floating in space. See my giant hand removing it. So I'm going to try my best to show you cards and whatnot. Morph it into rectilinear, probably. Is that good? Is there? Yeah, it looks pretty good. Yeah, look at that.
My hand fetish. Please no.
So okay. So yeah, the card cam will be right there. Because the first part of this is just going to be a big info dump. I've got so much information to share, overflowing with information to give to you. So, this is it. This is a card game Necromancy.
These are sleeved upside down.
Yes, because I'm glad you asked. Because Ultra Pro back in the day put these right here, and card games loved to keep valuable information in the corners of cards. So, if you had the sleeve like this, it would cover up relevant information on a Battletech card. It also covered up relevant information on a Star Wars card, because your deploy cost and forfeit costs were down there. So, so yeah, there we go. Anyway, these decks are actually these are still together from when I played the game originally. This was the deck that I built right before I quit playing the game. And this is my dad's deck. And I'll get more into like what the goal behind these decks are. Like once we actually get into the strategy section. So
do you want me to start unsleeving them?
Yeah, so yeah, go ahead and start unsleeving it. So okay. Justin needed something to do while I talked for like, I don't know, 10-15 minutes about the game. And
look at this sleeve.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
So these sleeves are actually older probably than some of my Keyforge opponents have been. Yeah, just look at that. This is some vintage Ultra Pro sleeves right there. You can't, I don't even know if you could find those if you wanted to anymore. So yeah. And that's why the Ultra Pro logo on sleeves now, when they are on Ultra Pro sleeves, are like in the middle here. It's like in a place where it doesn't obscure any.
I still think it's always a terrible idea. That's one of the reasons I did not like those sleeves.
Yeah,
because even on some card games, you're never going to be able to cover all the card games if you put a opaque thing on the front of your sleeve.
Yeah,
there's no reason to do that.
So okay, all right. First things first, Battletech. Battletech was originally, it came out in the 80s. I think it's very much a product of the 80s in a lot of ways. If you take a look at the game, you take a look at how it evolved over the years. If you originally, it was a board game, and it was called Battle Droids. Okay. But George Lucas owned the right to the word droid.
Wow, okay.
So they changed the name to Battletech. Now, the original mechs in the game were all actually anime robots, like from legit anime at the time. Macross was one, and if you take a look at the original mechs and you take a look at like what those robots look like, you'll see, yeah, these are the identical robots from those games. And that apparently, I did like a little bit of research on this. before we started the stream. So they bought the rights to use those images that, in America. And this is back in the 80s when buying the rights to stuff was actually cheap. That's like the whole reason Mystery Science Theater 3000 was able to do what it did, because it could buy the rights to a movie. And then that became prohibitively expensive moving on into the late aughts and the late 90s and early aughts and whatnot. So now it's like really expensive to do that kind of thing. Everybody's more protective of it. I had always heard that the company Harmony Gold is the company that published Robotech in America, which is really actually multiple anime chopped up and strung together with like some random voiceover stuff to just make why it went from one anime with like one coherent art style and a bunch of plots to another anime like in later seasons. Harmony Gold was the company that stitched it all together. I had always heard that Harmony Gold had sued Battletech for using the images, but apparently what had actually happened is that FASA, the company that owned Battletech, sued them for using the images of stuff that they had bought the rights to, but did not win anything in court. And then they realized that they were then legally on the hook if they kept using images from other products. So they decided to discontinue use of those images and use only stuff that was new. Now, it's hilarious because those still exist in the universe after the fact, those designs and whatnot. They just are referred to in like the lore and stuff, but you just never see pictures of them in the official products, which is just kind of funny. So the card game debuted in 96. So 3 years after Magic, and this is actually probably during the height of the CCG craze, I would say.
Here's your sleeves.
I'm probably gonna throw those away.
Yeah,
probably gonna throw them away. So the game debuted in 96, and I want to say I started playing it shortly after it came out, because the first card game I ever played was the Star Wars CCG by Decipher. However, my dad was a big Battletech fan and wanted and he was like, oh, that's cool, this is actually a card game that me and my sons can play. And so he bought into the game. I didn't really buy a whole lot. Like I would buy like a little bit. My dad was like a collector, and he like wanted the whole set.
And you were what, like 14?
Yeah, it was like so when Battletech first came out, I was like 12.
Yeah, okay.
And so I had a crippling Star Wars card game habit that I had to feed in addition to the Battletech habit. So I would play both games, but since my dad had a bunch of the cards, I could just use them. I would say this was like my first experience with like being a whale in a card game, even though I didn't buy all the stuff. I had access to all the cards. So yeah, it was just one of those things where if I wanted to build a deck, I had the resources to go and do it.
You just go borrow from your dad.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, game came out in 96. It had like 8 or 10 sets. You can check that on the internet. It's not like really important on how many total like sets there were. It eventually got axed when Wizards of the Coast was purchased by Hasbro. It was axed shortly afterwards. And I would say that was kind of like a low point in Battletech's like product brand recognition in the anyway in like the early 2000s. Because
these are katana.
These are katanas, yes.
Yeah. Not Dragon Shield mats. I would be much more angry right now. Non-glare, that is. Katanas.
The company that owned Battletech, FASA, went out of business not long after the card game was canceled. They actually licensed it to Wizards of the Coast. So back, like I said, when you could buy licenses for basically nothing. And I want to say that's when Wizards of the Coast picked up like a lot of different card game rights like in the late 90s to the early 2000s, and then a bunch of them all got purged.
Trying to cash
within
in once.
within like a period of time. They all just got axed. So because Wizards of the Coast owned Legend of the Five Rings at one point. They owned Pokemon at one point. There was just like a whole pile of intellectual property that they bought the rights to make card games from. Battletech was in that lot, and then in that span they just all got axed. So now the game itself was always like, I think it sold enough for them to keep printing it, but it may not have necessarily been gangbusters, and so that's why it probably got the axe. They were like, hey, this Magic card game keeps making money, why don't you just print more of that kind of thing. And there was that late 90s card game market crash anyway. This is what happens.
I'm reaching critical mass. 60 card decks.
I know, 60 cards is a lot to shuffle.
It's like
after playing Keyforge for the last, almost exclusively for the last, and Destiny was only 30.
Just wait till we get to Lord of the Rings with 80 card decks. I don't know if you remember those 80 card decks.
Yeah,
they were very big.
Yeah. Anyway, I guess we'll dive into the actual game itself and like how it's played. Now, since it was designed by Richard Garfield, and I would say this game draws a lot of comparisons to Magic, and I think they are fair sometimes and unfair others. I remember playing this game. Virtually everybody who played this game played Magic, and I remember beating the trash out of those players because they would play it as if it were Magic. And there are several things in this game that make it certainly a lot more strategically distinct than Magic. In Magic, for instance, I'll just use this one example before we actually get into the rules. In Magic, when you attack the opponent, you attack all at one time. And in this game, you send your mechs on missions. And so you can attack multiple times, and so that
we're kind of used to that from Keyforge, so.
Right.
Hearthstone.
Yeah, exactly. So in this, you can attack multiple times, and you could like feint, right? I could attack a target, make you like overcommit to try blocking that, and then go after what I was really trying to get.
Do you attack with multiple units at once?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. You send them in groups that go.
You attack the same thing multiple times?
Yes.
Okay.
So you could send like one guy in, and they could choose to block it or not. Or you could send another guy. You could send your mechs one at a time into a target.
Is there a life point total?
Your total is your deck. That's that. If your deck is gone, you lose the game. Essentially, if you go to draw a card. Your mechs are not banding, but this game basically does ask you, what if every attack in Magic was banding? I would say the combat in this game is a lot more interesting than Magic is, because Magic is typically, this creature is a 3/3, this creature is a 2/2, this one wins. And in this game, you may end up fighting the same mech multiple turns in a row. So it may be one of those where you're like, I'm trying to get some damage on this mech so that I can kill it on the following turn, kind of thing. It's typically, and as you'll see, a lot of the mechs in this game have way more hit points than they have damage that they can do. So that means they end up sticking around from turn to turn. Okay, so we will dive into the card types. Let me reiterate. Your objective is to deplete your opponent's deck. Any damage done to the opponent's deck just straight flips cards off of it on a 1-for-1 scale. If
these have some crud.
Oh yeah, no, those were well shuffled.
Ooh
yeah. Oh yeah.
I need to disinfect. Is it possible to hold infection for 20 years?
Yeah, it may very well be responsible for a current
could be
predicament.
Okay, I gotta see if we can actually see what's crud in this. Look at can't quite make it out, but top of that card.
I will point out that these Ultra Pros were shuffled so much that the clear hologram that were present on the other ones are actually gone.
Look at this.
So we'll do side by side comparison. This was the other deck.
Wow, they're just gone.
with the actual hologram on it. The other sleeves are the ones.
It's like you can see a little spot where
it
was.
That's where it was. That's because I'm pretty sure I used those sleeves for almost the entirety of my BattleTech career.
I assume you were never deck checked and told to.
Oh yeah, no. You didn't. Nobody deck checked back then. So
yeah.
All right. Now, there are essentially only 3 card types in this game. However, one of the card types does a lot of it pulls a lot of weight.
Okay.
So the first and foremost are mechs. And I'm going to put out Hermes there as an example. Now, this is...
I feel that. I want to do that, Code Red, really bad. I might have to go take a hand washing break after I'm done and finish sleeving this. All right, keep going.
All right, so... oh yeah, sorry. That elbow is not on the table. Yeah. You'll see here, this is the graphic design that I had talked about making fun of. There's a lot of like empty space on this card, right? You've got like the space in between the casting costs and like some flavor text there. And yeah, so actually, I want to say that the mech information initially looks like it is flavor text. It's telling you like how heavy the mech is, and it's telling you like its equipment and stuff like that. Those actually mattered for some cards.
Okay.
Because a lot of the mechanics in this card game are drawn from the board game.
I see.
So a lot of the stuff makes more sense if you played the board game and then went and played the card game.
I will say that the graphic design on this card game is not that bad compared to some others.
It's not, but there is a lot of empty space, right? And I think it's meant to look futuristic. Okay, right. Keep in mind this was 96. We can go back and take a look at Magic cards from 96. We can put them side by side, and this does look a lot crisper. Mm-hmm. And I will say that they're uniform too. Right. So when we go and look at some other examples, some of them make better use of that negative space than others. So now the watermark in the back of the rules text right here, this is what lets you know what set it's from. Now keep in mind that this is from the day and age where companies did not believe in putting the rarity on a card, so you needed some sort of guide to tell you what was rare and what was not in the game. And I have to say that I feel like the vast majority of the rares in this game were actually garbage. A lot of the characters from the novels were rare and mostly garbage.
Okay.
So, all right.
What's the per deck limit on card name?
6.
6. Okay.
Yes. So there wasn't one. I did actually want to bring this up because there was not one for a long time, and the idea was, unlike Magic, they actually wanted it to feel like if you were like deciding what you were going to field, if you had like one mech that you wanted to field 10 copies of, they wanted you to be able to do that kind of thing. However, very early in the game, there was a deck that included a card called the Mongoose. And I couldn't actually find a copy of it for this. But it is the card that got... okay, yeah, it's like $4 on eBay for one copy right now. But it is the card that got deck restrictions put into place. And the popular deck was something like 40 copies of it and just 20 of the one resource you needed to play. And the idea, and I'll get into more strategy in a second, but it just played 40 copies of it because it was so efficient.
That's funny. Are there factions and deck building restrictions?
Yes, there are. You'll notice on this card it says Mech Inner Sphere.
Okay.
Cards typically, especially mechs, are going to be limited to the Inner Sphere or the clans. We'll dive into the actual the Battletech lore here to explain the differences between the two. So when Battletech originally came out, it took place in what is known as the Inner Sphere, which is like the group of planets that humanity currently inhabits.
I guess just because it looks cool. Just caught my eye.
Oh yeah.
Look how banging that thing is.
Yeah, there's actually some pretty sweet art in this game.
Metal AF.
Yeah, the entire forest is on fire.
That's
that it's
cool.
Walking through. And for the vast majority of the game's history in the 80s, all of the conflict that happened in the board game took place in the Inner Sphere.
Okay.
Now there were these massive wars that were fought called the Succession Wars, and the idea is that the space houses that were a part of the Inner Sphere would fight, and the wars wouldn't actually accomplish much. They would like take a planet and then like lose that planet, and you would fight for 20 years, and that's what would happen. And so the conflict didn't actually move, and I wonder if that was like a design decision where it was like, yeah, you can just play whatever you want whenever you want, because there weren't if we go back and we look at like the box games of the 80s, they were striving for like realism. It was like,
just put these in the garbage. I don't want to touch the play mat.
They were like greedy, and they were like trying to like represent like realistic conflicts that had happened. Yeah. So Battletech,
it was like fictional historical, or not non-fictional historical battles.
Correct. You are replaying Antietam.
Yep.
You are replaying the campaign for North Africa,
which is actually how D&D started.
Correct. Because the original chainmail rules were like fantasy combat. It was like medieval dudes hitting each other with swords, and then they were like, what if we could cast spells? What if you were one of these characters?
Yeah.
And so on and so on. So Battletech shows up, and I don't know if it was the first giant robot game. I'm not going to make that claim. It's probably influenced by like Starship Troopers and stuff like that.
Right.
I don't want to make a lot of these claims that I don't have like verification for. But it's hard to take a look at the stuff that happens in this and say that it isn't inspired by something like Starship Troopers and other science fiction stories at the time. So anyway, the Inner Sphere, bunch of big houses constantly fighting against each other, not really making any progress. We fast forward to 1990, 1991, somewhere in that place, and the Battletech universe introduces this series of novels called like the Blood of Kerensky novels. And these were actually probably the first full-length novels that I read, and yeah, they're genre fiction, and they probably haven't aged well necessarily, but they were like the first full-length, these were like 350-page novels or whatever that I read, and these novels had like a complex cast of characters in them. It was part of the reason why I loved Game of Thrones was because this book, you had like multiple characters that were point of view characters.
Okay.
And so this series of books kind of like changed the Battletech lore. It had always been hinted, part of the Succession Wars were that like when the Inner Sphere would fight, they would lose people that were needed to maintain the mechs as they were. So essentially, the longer the wars went on, the worse the technology got. And so they were essentially using weapons that they no longer could necessarily produce at the quality that they were supposed to. Okay. So, there were always like these hints laid in the background that there was like people who actually knew how to use this stuff and had kept it secret. So that's when the clans are introduced, and the clans actually come from outside the Inner Sphere, and they're
is it called the Outer Sphere?
I don't think so. I actually
that's
don't.
That's a missed opportunity.
But they're outside they're outside like the known space, and they start invading, and they basically say, we are the descendants of Earth. We've come back to take our birthright, which is the home planet, and they show up with technology far greater than the Inner Sphere has. And the only difference between the clans, or one of the major differences between the clans and the Inner Sphere, is that the clans have a strict code of honor that they use. And so the clans actually bid for the lowest amount of forces needed to try to win a fight. And clans, when they fight in mechs, they issue a challenge. And they basically say, so they show up, and it's like you've got a battlefield and stuff like that. And so a clan mech shows up and will like issue a challenge to one other mech. And the idea is that everybody else is supposed to clear out of the way, and those mechs square off. Because that's how the clans have fought for so long. And they've got like this, like I said, really strict code of honor. If you and me are fighting, nobody else in a mech can engage in our combat until it's over. Okay? And so the clans show up, and the Inner Sphere doesn't know what they're doing. And they're like, and so they're like, we don't understand, like they keep issuing challenges and stuff like that. So like the only fights that the Inner Sphere could win are the ones where they fight dirty, because they a couple people figure out like, oh, these guys are fighting with honor. That's stupid. And so there's like a bunch of
What country is this game from? Is it
it's
United States?
I think it's United States, yeah originally.
Yeah.
Now a lot of the houses and stuff like that were have like real world influences, right, because they are supposed to be like the logical extensions of countries that exist currently, right, if you fast forward 300 years or however long. I think it's like 1,000 years, honestly. Another thing, in the board game, you can make what's known as like improvised attacks. So typically your mech is going to have like lasers and missiles and stuff like that it can fight the opponent with. But at the same time, your mech weighs anywhere from 20 to 100 tons. And so if you run out of ammo, you can always just have your mech punch the opponent's mech.
Okay.
Or mechs have jump jets, which let them like take to the skies and stuff like that. So you can do what's known as a death from above attack, where you fire your jump jets and try to land on the opponent's mech. And the thing about that's so deadly is that when you're landing on an opponent's mech, you're like landing possibly on the head, and so you have like a pretty good chance of trying to like crush their cockpit and stuff like that. So all those attacks, improvised attacks, dishonorable.
Right. Okay.
So that's like the only edge that the Inner Sphere has, is that they can fight.
They don't care about honor.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now the clans also had factions. The idea is that each of these factions were actually the descendants of the original people who left the Inner Sphere, and most of the clans are actually like genetically grown. They're grown in like a vat. You take like it's kind of like the Brave New World. I don't know if you ever read Brave New World, but like the beginning of Brave New World, they talk about the process for creating humans, and it's like you grow a bunch of them in a lab. And so you have like a pod of like 20 kids, and like one of them becomes a mech wearer, because they're like constantly pitted against each other until you have like one who makes it out.
I gotcha.
Anyway, that's the two major factions. You've got the Inner Sphere, and then you've got the clans. Now, the Inner Sphere has houses, and the clans have different types of clans that are in them. So when you're building a deck, your restrictions are clans. If you're playing clans, you can only include stuff from a specific clan, or anything that says clan on it.
Okay.
And inner sphere, you can include stuff from a specific inner sphere place or stuff from that house.
Is it comparable like light side and dark side building, sort of? Like you couldn't have Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader in the same deck?
Correct. Correct. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And so if you read the books, the characters make sense, like where they're a part of, because it was like that person was a part of Clan Wolf. This person was a part of Clan Jade Falcon. This person was House Steiner.
Essentially build a inner sphere deck that is a separate faction of inner sphere people.
Correct. And so something like Hermes here. Hermes is a generic inner sphere mech, which means it could be included in any inner sphere deck.
Got it.
All right. So now the actual contents of this card. Now this is what's known as a unit card, and there were units that are not mechs. You've got vehicles and you've got battle armor.
Okay.
But for the most purposes, the mechs in this game are going to be your primary unit that's used. That deck does have battle armor and it does have vehicles in it. And I think this deck does have some vehicles in it as well. So we will get to see the other types of units. Yeah. So now the cost is right here. So Hermes costs 1 resource, 1 assembly, and 1 munitions.
3 total?
3 total.
Okay.
And I'll get more on what those like assembly, munitions, all that stuff mean. Those are collectively known in the game as the assets. There are 5 assets. But we'll get to those when I start talking about command cards. Now, in the bottom left corner, right here, that is the armor and the structure. Okay? And this is the attack in the bottom right corner. And then right here is the speed of the mech.
Medium speed?
Medium speed. Yep. Okay. 3 speeds. You got fast, medium, and slow.
Okay.
Armor, not all cards have armor in the game, but armor is damage reduced every time it is assigned damage.
Okay.
Like once per turn, but damage that's reduced every turn. Very similar to Keyforge.
Right. Okay.
Your structure is permanent damage, and when you take damage equal to structure, that's when you die.
All right. Yeah.
And then your attack is how much damage the attack does.
So it's got essentially 5 health, 1 armor, and 2 attack.
Correct. Okay. Yep. And speed matters. I'll show you some other mechs real quick. These are just some example ones. This is the Grasshopper. It's slow. It doesn't have any special resources on it, so you can pay for just however you want. It's got an ability there called Jump. It's got 3 attack, 2 armor, 8 health. So you can see the Hermes can't even actually damage the Grasshopper by itself because the Grasshopper has too much armor if they're like in a straight up fight.
Yeah.
And Jump is something that you would use during combat. Okay. We got another one here. This is an Assassin. This is another one of those cheap mechs. However, it is also has Jump. It has it's fast. Same kind of thing. It's got 1 attack, 1 armor, 3 structure. I've got some. So these are actually some rares that are in the game. This mech, as just a point of lore, this is the mech from the book series called it was like Pride of the Falcon. I think is what it was called. It was a book series that came out after the Blood of Kerensky trilogy. This was like a mid-90s series, and it was like from the point of view of a character from the clans.
Okay.
And it was a pretty good series, if memory serves, but like I said, no idea how it holds up now.
It's more than 11 cost, right? It's like...
Yes, it costs 11, 2 attack, 2 munitions, and 2 tactics. It has 3 missiles, which is something you use in combat.
Okay. And
missiles actually do a random amount of damage. Okay. So when I attack something with a missile, I roll a die, and on a 1 or a 2, it does that much damage, and on a 3, 4, 5, or 6, it doesn't do any damage.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it has an ability called Overheat, which means you can deal yourself the overheat number and you get that much extra attack.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, so it can choose to take 4 damage and get +4 attack. Now, overheat is reduced by armor.
Okay. But it would not get that armor for its attack.
Correct.
Or for what it gets dealt damage.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it can actually do its damage. Now, something else about overheat is the overheat damage isn't done until the end of combat. All damage is done simultaneously at the end of combat. So if it's going to die anyway,
so it's assigned 4 damage.
It can choose to overheat.
Okay.
And then basically go out in a blaze of glory.
I see.
And if you thought 11 was a lot, have I got news for you? So this was like the chase card from the first set. Okay. So yeah, here you go. This was the chase card.
It costs 17 plus 5 assembly plus 5. What is the L again?
5 logistics.
Logistics.
And then 5 munitions.
It's like 33.
Yeah.
Or 32.
Yeah. Yes, Clan Smoke Jaguar. There you go. So
Direwolf.
Yeah. So the Daishi is the name of the mech.
Okay.
And I believe so Daishi is the name the Inner Sphere gave to the mech. So when the clans first show up, the Inner Sphere has no idea about what any of the mechs are. They don't know the technology or anything like that. And then the name Direwolf is actually what the clans called it.
Okay.
Now it might be reversed. I think I think in this situation though, Daishi makes sense because Smoke Jaguar initially fought House Kurita. House Kurita is like the Japanese influenced house, and so I think that's where that name came from.
Okay.
And then Direwolf was the name that the clans gave the mech,
okay.
And I may have that wrong, but I'm sure somebody in the YouTube comments will tell us if that is incorrect. So anyway, yeah. So but here it's got 4 armor, 11 structure, and 12 attack. And so your deck is 60 cards. That's a hard cap. Okay. So this is actually hitting you for, and you're gonna draw cards and play cards as you play through the game. So this mech is actually hitting you for about 1/4 of your deck in one swing.
Yeah.
So it may seem expensive, but if you get this into play and it hits the opponent, it's just like chonking the opponent. Now, it's got anti-missile on it, which means that is if your opponent assigns missiles to you, they actually do less damage.
Is the minimum 60 as well? Is it exactly 60?
Yeah, I believe decks are exactly 60. So it also has this, and I think they keyworded this later in the game. Everybody referred to it as long range. If Daishi A attacks and is blocked, it may deal up to 4 damage to its target.
Okay.
I'll get to more on that later. But remember that because that's basically an ability that gets used a lot. So now, if you want to see power creep, I've also got a card that came out of one of the later sets. Okay, so this one costs 19, and it overheats for 6, and it also has this other mechanic called Alpha Strike for another +2.
So it just gets that.
So Alpha Strike means you could choose to deplete a mech, which means you would actually turn it face. So it's a lot like Magic, where you are untapped or you're tapped. And if you were depleted, you were actually flipped over.
Okay.
And that you didn't do anything. The idea was that you were completely out of ammo. You were an easy target. So on the next turn, you could flip over, and then on the following turn, then you could untap, kind of thing. So Alpha Strike was meant to be an actual Alpha Strike. It left you vulnerable afterwards.
Okay.
So yeah, in this case, but yeah, this mech can hit for 19.
Daishi
Prime, yeah.
Don't say tap.
No, this game's actually tapped. This was a Wizards of the Coast game.
Yeah,
so you watch what you tell me to watch. Okay. All right. So, and then here's power creep again. This is the Widowmaker. Okay. Now, this was actually a specific character's mech in the books. Natasha Krinsky, who had a lot of fanboys at the time, if you can imagine Battletech fanboys. So this one costs 20. It's got 12 attack. Again, it's got overheat 5 for +7. It also has the mechs engaged with it deal -1 attack. So it basically taxed all of your opponent's mechs. This card is also unique. And I'll have to look up the unique rules, but I think you could only have like one unique card in your deck.
Okay.
There could only be one unique card in play, of a card in play.
Okay, right.
But I'd have to double check uniqueness. You may have only been able to have one in your deck. I might be way off base there. But like it was truly unique in this game. All right. So that's mechs. Now, these are the assets. So this is your basic lands. This is your basic resource in the game, and there were 5 of them. These also show another type of card type, and these are command cards. All right, so command cards are essentially basically everything else in the game except for missions, which are only used during combat. But the vast majority of like the characters in the game were command cards.
One card type down,
yeah. So that is tactics right there. There are actually multiple arts for these. I'm going to point out that anything that provided an asset has got that symbol at the bottom of the card, that circular T there. Okay. So that's to show that it provided that asset to you.
Okay.
And you also see the tap symbol and the circle R. That means it provided a resource.
Okay.
And this card actually costs 0.
All right.
To play. So Great. It's your basic resource. All right. We've got politics. Okay. We've got logistics.
And they do essentially the same thing.
Yes, with an asterisk. We've got munitions.
And it has armor and structure?
Yes.
So they can be attacked?
They can be attacked, and they can be destroyed.
Okay.
And then assembly. Okay. So, all right. Assembly, all of these assets give you an extra power. Okay?
Okay.
So assembly means that you can, once per turn, pay 1 resource to repair 1 point of damage to one of your mechs.
Does it say that on assembly?
Yes, it does say that on assembly, yeah.
Okay.
You've got munitions. Munitions says if you roll a 3 on a missile roll, it actually does 3 damage.
Oh, dang.
Okay.
Okay.
Logistics says at the end of your turn, you can restock a card, which means you could take a card from your hand, you could put it on the bottom of your discard pile. That's important because
it gains life.
It's essentially gaining you life.
Now, do you get that benefit for each one you have in play?
No. Just if you have logistics, you have this ability.
Okay.
If you have munitions, you have this ability, kind of thing. Munitions does not stack. It doesn't like let you. So politics actually doesn't do anything, which is a little on the nose, I think, at this point. So, but politics doesn't have an innate ability. And then we've got tactics, and tactics says if you have tactics in play, add +1 to your initiative, which matters for battles, which we'll get to in a.
Okay.
All right. So now, when you have these, if you have this resource, this means you don't have to pay that cost on other cards. So if we go back to the Widowmaker, if I have assembly, and I have logistics, and I have munitions, that means I don't have to pay that extra 12.
Okay.
So it just costs 20. But if for some reason I don't have one of those resources, I have to pay those extra resources to put this into play. It's different than Magic, right?
Right.
In Magic, that would be like blue, green, and red.
That'd be like if you had an island, you didn't have to pay
Correct.
The cost. Okay.
Yeah. So that is why politics exists mostly for a lot of the other command cards. A lot of the command cards will have like a huge politics cost on them, and the politics lets you play that for free. This is an example of another type of command card. This is like basically a sorcery.
Okay.
And it says scrap assassination when is revealed, scrap a pilot or unique card in play. So that Widowmaker that I showed you, you could actually assassinate and blow up the Widowmaker.
My goodness.
Yeah, so I pay 3 to counterspell your 20 cost thing.
All right.
So,
all right.
Yeah, anyway, so assassination, I remember this card, and I basically just didn't play unique stuff because of this card. Like I can
it's such a liability.
I've got 400 mechs. Yeah. I'll just play 400 mechs. So this card is not destroying your opponent's stockpile. So it doesn't. It's not like contributing towards the forward momentum to end a game.
Okay.
All right. So now the last card type are missions, and missions could only be played in combat, and they all had different effects on them, and they did a lot of different stuff. This one says running battle, play only when blocked or blocking, which means combat actually occurred. Okay. There were a lot of times where in this game you would attack and your opponent just decides not to block because it's not worth it. And then you don't actually have combat happening between units. So this says, for each slow mech, roll a die. 1 through 3, nothing happens. On a 4, 5, or 6, that slow mech neither deals nor receives damage. So that meant that the battle got too far away, and the slow mechs couldn't actually keep up with the combat, so they don't do anything.
All right.
So I think that this deck here has some other missions. It's got a card called Heroic Sacrifice, and this card says that play only if you have tactics in play, and only when blocking or blocking. And it says double all damage dealt to one of your mechs. Deal that mech's damage to the target. Yes, they're all missions are combat tricks. Yeah. So this says deal that mech's damage to the target. So that means that your guy is going to get riddled with holes, but he can attack the target and get his damage to the target.
How is damage assigned?
We'll get to that.
Okay.
Something else I wanted to point out before we get into the actual like sitting down and playing the game is that there was an edition of the game called Commander's Edition that came out, and they actually went through and revamped the like layout of the cards.
Okay, I think those did catch my eye as I was flipping through.
Yeah, and so I'll show you some of the revamped cards.
Oh yeah.
So it's stuff that you've seen already. I think these make a lot better use of this space.
That's crispy.
Yeah. And this was like circa 2000, I'd say. Here's a Heroic Sacrifice, same cards you saw before with the new layout. And then here is a mech.
Oh yeah.
So, and the nice thing is that they would have the same resources in the same place.
On the so they have the little slots for all the costs, and they're all in the same place all the time.
Yeah, that's so same place all the time. So if you're looking at your hand, you can like very easily. So like if you got your hand laid out something like this, you can.
If you win all the novels, or if you read all the novels, you automatically win every game you play. You're like, well, actually, that would not happen in canon.
Yeah, exactly.
This fight would not occur in canon. Thus, my attack is unblocked.
Yeah, and then your faction was actually shown right here as well. So to give you a graphical representation of the faction, because there were a lot of cards that it's like this, like. If I'm like showing you the cards at a distance and I'm like, what faction is this a part of? You're not going to be able to tell. But if you look at this one, you go, oh, that's Davion and that's Karita.
Okay.
All right. Let's dive into the game.
Okay, sure.
I don't hate the original. I do think I think there's some merit to both styles.
How do I play the game?
All right, so we're gonna shuffle.
Okay. Chat, you're with me. I need your help.
And our opening hands are 5 cards.
Okay. I'm looking for like resources, probably.
Yes. All right. So I will go through the phases.
I don't know what anything means. It's fine. Turn 1 Black Lewis. Channel Fireball.
The first phase is untap.
Okay.
Then you draw. Okay. On your turn, you draw 2 cards.
Okay. And
you draw them technically one at a time because there might be a situation where it matters. Whether you because you could like do effects in between drawing cards during your draw phase, because some cards will like say do this only during your draw phase. These probably aren't in these decks. Okay. So here's the thing. At the end of the day, this game came down to just beating the absolute dog shit out of your opponent. Okay. With giant robots.
That sounds great.
It's so anytime you try to do like cutesy stuff in this game,
you just get beat up.
You would get beat up.
Okay.
So all right. Then there's the deploy phase.
That's awesome, Rick. Dr. Robot Rick. We're all learning together.
Yes.
Now you can make use of those cards.
Oh. So there's the deploy phase, and that's when you choose to deploy units and command cards. And I'll get to more on the deploy phase in a second.
Okay.
There's the repair reload phase. So that's where your cards that are depleted flip up.
Okay.
And you can also spend 1 resource to repair a damage on one of your mechs.
I feel like I need a player aid card. Do you have a player aid card?
I've got, you can...
Does the game come with that?
I'm going to put the PDF in the chat. Okay.
Oh, I got you guys covered. Rules of engagement. Okay,
so this is the Commander's
Sequence
edition
of play.
Yeah, I think if you get to the
oh god.
Oh yeah, no, this is 2000 era rule books. 2000 era rule books. Yeah, I think there might be an easier one.
Is there a better one?
Yeah, scroll down. That's the card types. There you go, sequence.
Oh, okay.
Right there.
Untap, draw, deploy, repair, reload missions in a turn. Okay.
Yeah. So I would just clip that side right there.
We clipping it.
Slap that up on the side.
Boom. Did it. All right.
All right. There we go. So, now the missions phase, that is when you actually attack the opponent.
Okay. It's the last thing you do in your turn.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the end of turn is when you move cards from where they were deployed in like armor replenishes and stuff like that. So we'll go through a couple of just like turns, and then we'll like reset the game basically.
All right.
So you have an idea of what's going on. All right, now I believe mulligans in this game were just like a full mulligan. You just like shoveled your hand back in and then drew 5. I might be wrong about that.
5 cards?
Yeah, 5 cards. I believe it's 5 cards starting hand. Let's double check that. It would be hilarious if I just got that wrong. Just got that wrong off the bat. Starting a game. Yeah, the player shuffle the decks, cut the deck, and then draw 5 cards. So use a fair method to determine who goes first. So we'll just roll. High roll. I got a 1. You got a 4. All right. So now, if you go first, the only rule in this game, the first player attacks, is that you draw 1 card and you deploy 1 card.
Okay.
All right.
So I just play a card?
Yep. All right. So when you deploy, it goes to your... You've got zones. We'll cover the zones real quick. You've got your stockpile.
You got zones.
You got your stockpile.
Stockpile's deck.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll do the deploy zones. Everything going to be behind the yellow line.
This is the deploy zone.
That's the deploy zone.
All right.
You got your command zone.
Command zone.
Okay.
Right.
And then you're going to have your patrol area.
We got another tier up here. All right.
So your command zone is kind of like where your lands are going to go.
All right.
Your command cards will all go to the command zone. Your patrol area are where your mechs are going to go.
All right.
All right. So any cards that are deployed are down here.
Okay.
And the reason we keep these separate is that your cards that are deployed are fair targets. I can go attack what you're building and blow it up before you get a chance to complete it. On your first turn, you deploy a card face down. Some cards can actually be deployed face up for an extra deployment, and they say that on them. They'll say, like, deploy this card revealed, and I believe I included some in that deck.
Okay.
And they can be deployed revealed for an extra deployment. And then if a card is constructed, meaning it's got resource counters on it equal to its cost, then you could flip it up to show that it's deployed and then move it to its appropriate zone.
So I can play this munitions?
Yes. Yep.
So that goes up to the...
Yep, goes up to the command zone.
Okay.
Now. Yep, goes to the command zone.
We'll say there, because I need some space for deployment.
Sure,
yeah.
sure. Okay.
So I play the munitions.
Yep.
Resource.
Yep.
All right.
All right, so my turn.
Yeah.
I draw 2. Draw them one at a time. 1 and 2. And I am going to deploy an assembly. And then I am going to use this assembly to play... I'm going to deploy a card. And I'm going to use assembly to play Weapons Depot, which costs 1 to play. It provides logistics and munitions, and it can also tap for resource.
Okay.
So now, at the end of my turn, I'm going to use my logistics to restock a card and just take a card from my hand and put it on the bottom of my deck. And it is your turn. Right, so technically, these don't untap yet until the beginning of my turn. I'm used to Keyforge and untap.
It's not Keyforge. So draw 2. Play this logistics. So do I have to like play it and then flip it up?
Yep.
Or okay.
Yep.
So I do that.
Roar! How's it going?
I'm getting sharks. I know. All right, and then I
bet Justin this month's rent on the outcome of this specific
wait a
game.
minute. I don't remember that. So I play this, and I can tap the logistics
for 1.
Put the thing on it, and I can flip it up.
Yep.
And it costs 1.
Yep.
And 2 L, but I get the L for free.
Yep.
Because it's an L.
Yeah.
And I got an L.
Yep. And actually, I think this says somewhere on here, Sloth Squad. You may deploy Sloth Squad revealed to gain an additional deployment this turn. Draw a card when you activate Sloth Squad.
How many deployments do you get normally?
You get 2 deployments a turn.
Okay, so I'll play him revealed.
Yeah. And you have an extra deployment. Yeah.
Okay.
And he doesn't come out of the zone yet. That's at the end of the turn. He comes out of the zone.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. I am explaining this as we go. So, but yeah, you get 2 deployments a turn.
I see. So that's why you were only able to play those 2 cards.
Correct. You draw 2 cards, and you can only deploy 2 things a turn. So.
All right. So I'll tap this to deploy Hollander face up. It says you may deploy Hollander revealed to make an additional deployment this turn.
There you go. Yep.
So I can make another deployment.
Yep. You've only used 1 of your deployments.
I will.
We get swarmed by
so
these dorks.
I can like put that down, constructing.
Yep.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
And then that's it.
Okay.
So these move up, right?
Yep.
All right.
All right. My turn.
They can't attack the turn you play them, right?
That is correct because they're down here, and to attack, they have to be in your patrol zone.
Okay.
All right. So I untap. I will draw 2.
Not drawing in a turn is weird. It's been so long.
Okay. All right. So I am going to deploy. I'm going to deploy this and this.
Oh, did I get? I guess I could have done logistics, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So I'm going to do that.
Sure.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to spend 1 to deploy war funds, and comes into play And it says you can scrap it to search your stockpile for any resource card. Show that card to all players and deploy it. And this does not count as a deployment. Resource is a subtype, basically. All right, and
how do I do damage to your deck?
So you're going to get to do some damage to my deck on the next turn.
Sweet.
So I am going to use War Fund. I'll tap War Funds to.
I totally agree with you, Aurora, because like, play keyboard's like play, 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 play. Where in this you're like, I'll build my thing up.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cool, like thematically. For sure.
And then this is going to add a resource there. I think I am going to go ahead and crack my War Funds, my fetch land, basically. This actually, I believe, so the copyright on this is 98. So
the first fetch land.
I guess technically, was it Mirage Block had the slow fetch lands? It was like Sticky Tar Pit and stuff like that. No, it's not Sticky Tar Pit. Something, but but it is from that same kind of.
We gotta take an Eddie treat break.
Eddie treat.
He's very sleepy. Look at this. I think he did hear me say Eddie treat.
Yep. If he hears his name, he's ready to go. Rocky Tar Pit. Yeah, that's right.
All right.
All right. So War Fund says this does not count as a deployment. I can play this tactics now and then use it for a resource here.
Oh, so it just goes right to the command?
Well, I deploy it.
Okay.
And then it's 0, so it goes up here, and I can use it for resources immediately.
Okay.
Okay. And it is your turn. I will not restock anything at this point. So go ahead.
So I've untapped my stuff. Draw cards.
Yep.
All right, I will. So I have this is my deploy phase now. I will play. Wait, what is it? I'll pay $1 and play this Hollander face up so I can make an additional deployment this turn. That's there. I will pay $1. Play this Sloth Squad.
Yeah, and you're actually supposed to draw a card when you play Sloth Squad.
So I'm supposed to have another card in my hand? Yeah. Okay. And it says draw a card and you activate Sloth Squad.
Yeah, so activate is when you turn it face up and it's paid for.
I see.
Yeah. Okay. A lot of this terminology is not like with me.
I'm gonna reap to gain amber.
Yeah, he's gonna reap my resources into my discard pile.
So I haven't used any deployments.
Yes.
Yet, but I don't have anything else really to do. So.
Okay. So the next phase would be the repair reload phase, but you don't have any depleted mechs, so you don't have to worry about that.
Okay.
And then now we can move to the fight phase.
Okay.
And so you can send your guys one at a time, or you can send them separately. Now, Sloth Squad is a battle armor, and I alluded to this earlier, how battle armor is a different type of unit. Battle armor cannot attack or block alone. It has to travel with it.
Right.
Thematically, in the game, in the board game, and in the universe, you had units who had like the small little suits, and this is like the Starship Trooper kind of suits. So those were very slow by themselves, and they were very small, but they were very useful in like urban situations because they could like travel through buildings without destroying the whole building, unlike a mech. So
I guess it might benefit me to just like to put another thing down.
Correct, because you can't deploy it later.
Okay. Yeah.
So okay. All right. So now you could you can assign mechs to block, and mechs block zones. Now, the reason to do that is because the speed of your mechs matter. The speed of your units matter. Your units effectively attack at the fastest speed of the slowest mech.
Okay.
So if you're using the Sloth Squad, it's going to slow your whole unit down. And these guys are medium right here, or the Hollander's medium, so You could use him a little bit faster to attack something. Now, when you attack a unit, you can attack specific units. So if I wanted to, I could like send a mech after your sloth squad. But you can only target something that is slower than you are.
Okay.
So the Hollander could attack the sloth squad, but not vice versa. And you can also attack zones. So you can attack my deck to mill me for cards. You can attack what I have under construction.
Okay.
And you'll actually, for every 2 points of damage that you do, you remove 1 counter that I've paid for under construction.
Okay.
Or you could attack my command post.
Okay.
And you can actually destroy the resources that I have in play.
So if I attack one of your things, all of these aren't going to take a damage because I only have a total of 4. Right?
Correct. And you actually target something.
Right.
So you would say, I'm going to target
that.
Yeah.
The only thing I can damage is this because it's got 3 armor, 3 health.
Correct.
And then if I attacked that, I would do 4 total damage, removing 2 counters.
Yes, so it'd go down to 1 counter. So you know it costs more than 3.
Yeah. So that seems pretty good.
You know you would put me back some.
And then if I attack your deck, I mill 4 cards.
Mill 4
which
cards.
Which is getting closer to victory.
Yep.
Okay. I think I'm going to go for the thing you're building.
Sure. Okay. And so you actually get this revealed now.
Oh, okay.
And I'm building a mech called the Hatamoto Chi.
Okay.
And it's 3 armor, 8 structure, 3 attack. You can overheat for 2 to deal 1 extra attack, and it costs 3.
You want to throw that on the camera real quick?
Yeah.
Camera. The Hatamoto
Plus,
Chi.
it looks badass.
It is pretty cool.
Looks like a Gundam.
Yeah.
All right, so that's what I'm building. You actually take 2 off of it.
Yeah,
and
that's good.
That's that. So,
all right, so then these guys move up.
Yep.
During my end of turn.
Yep, and if you wanted to, you could restock a card.
I guess I will. No, I guess I won't.
Okay.
It's just like losing a card from my hand at this point.
All right, my turn.
Yes.
I will draw 1 and 2. All right, so I am going to deploy, and I'm going to spend 1 for a weapons depot. And then I am going to deploy. And then I am going to spend 3 to finish off the Hatamoto Chi. And that is my turn. I'll tell you to go ahead. So
can you play mission cards on your opponent's turn?
You can. You can only play mission cards if you have tactics.
Okay.
And now, when I built this deck to function off of only logistics and only munitions.
Okay.
So there are no tactics in that deck. I don't think there's a mission in that deck.
Okay.
And I don't think that that deck could produce tactics if it wanted to.
All right,
it might be able to like jump. But as you can see, it's got like this kind of swarm strategy going on. And so the goal is to try to like outflank your opponent with like just sheer numbers of units. So, okay. And your turn.
All right, I will. So go to I drew my 2 cards.
Yep.
Go to my draw phase, my deploy phase. So I'm going to play this here, munitions, and that gets played.
Yep.
0. Then I will deploy Hollander.
Oh my God, so many Hollanders.
Face up. So he's gonna. Oh, I guess it doesn't come there.
No,
right?
no, it doesn't go there
It's
yet.
just there.
So, yeah.
Right. Then I will. So that's a free deployment.
Yep.
I'm gonna put this down. I'm gonna pay $2. Then deploy this guy because he costs 2. I have the ends.
Yep.
Falcon Hawk. Put that down there. See this Falcon Hawk. Totally banging.
No armor, but 3 attack,
6 health.
So
seems pretty good.
You can take a beating.
And then I move on to my repair reload, which I don't have anything to do, right? So I'll do my.
Yeah, that deck is very much a face deck.
If I can't like destroy the card you're building, right?
You can. If you were to deal a point of damage and it has no counters on it, then it explodes.
So, but if I attacked and you blocked, would your mech like kill my guy?
Yeah, well, yeah, we get in a fight.
Okay.
So, a reminder that the sloth squads cannot attack by themselves.
Right.
So.
Yes, they're gonna have these Hollander buddies.
Yeah, or they can buddy up themselves.
Okay.
So, Now, right now, these Hollanders can attack whatever you want them to attack because they're medium speed.
Right.
And I am slow, so I cannot defend them.
You can't defend them at all.
Yeah, so you could send a Hollander to go blow up this card, and it would be destroyed.
That seems good. I'm going to do that.
Okay. So I can't defend. This was an avatar. I'll throw it up.
All right. Yeah, like it's what, missiles and overheat.
Yep.
Okay.
It has a mechanic called C3 on it, and it says each mech with C3 in a group that includes at least one other mech with C3 gets +2 attack. So this is if you have a bunch of C3 mechs in play, they all get a lot more dangerous.
All right. So, and then I got a murder squad here.
Yep.
I think I'm just gonna send these at your deck.
Okay, sending them at the deck.
Yes.
Okay, so I will defend with the Haramoto Chi.
Okay.
And so they tap. Everybody's tapped. And now we're actually in combat.
All right.
All right. So the first phase of combat is determining initiative. So right now I have tactics, which means my initiative is +1.
Right,
currently a total of 1.
Right.
And you have no initiative. And we can use abilities now if we wanted to generate initiative.
Okay.
So you actually go first. So the person who has the worst initiative goes first in combat and declares what they want to do, and the person who has the initiative gets to see what the opponent is doing and then decide how they want to respond to it.
Okay.
So you are right now, unless you generate the initiative, you get to decide what happens. You assign, if you want to use any abilities. Now, I think the sloth squads have an ability on them.
Use an engaged mech and roll a die. 1 to 3. That mech receives 1 to 3 structure damage.
Yes.
4 to 6 no effect. Oh,
yes.
I want to do that.
Yeah. And it's not missile attacks. It's just the sloth squad's own ability.
Damage.
Yeah.
Okay, that seems pretty good.
Okay. So the sloth squad number 1 is going to use its ability on the Haramoto. Okay, so it's going to take 2 damage.
All right. Yeah.
Okay, the second sloth squad.
So you don't get a thing in between?
I get to see everything you do before I go.
All right, I see.
So no nothing.
Damage, yeah.
Okay.
Do I get to use the long range?
Yeah, so you can choose to use the long range here. Now, your target was the deck.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'll go and do that.
Okay, so you're doing 1 damage to the deck.
Yep.
I'll just put this right here. 1 damage to the deck. And then the other 5 damage is coming to the Haramoto.
Okay, so blocking it absorbs everything.
Yes, yep.
Okay.
It takes all the damage.
All right.
Now, when you are attacking, so if I were attacking a mech, if I had like some fast mechs and I wanted to attack like a slow mech that you had, if the target of the attack is a mech or a unit, you can choose to include it in the fight.
Right. Even if it's like exhausted.
Right. So in this case, I have chosen to keep the deck out of the fight because I don't want you just doing damage to the deck.
Right.
So,
okay.
All right. So you're doing 5 damage to the Haramoto. So it's actually going to take 7. It's got 3 armor. So I'm not going to choose to use its overheat here. Actually, I might, because I use the overheat and I can take out 2 sloth squads, which will hamper your offensive capabilities. If I overheat, I go to 9. This thing can take 11. This is the advantage of tactics here, where I see what you've done. You've assigned your damage here, so I can decide whether or not I want to use my overheat. If the roles were reversed, if I wanted to like decide if I wanted to use my overheat now, then you could take advantage of that in some way with like a mission or something like that. So I think I do overheat because that 4 will let me either kill this or both of these. And I think I kind of want to get those off the table because they just do a lot of damage. So that's what I'll do. I'll overheat. So I'll end up taking 6 damage.
Okay.
And then I'll do 2 damage to here and 2 damage to here. So we'll resolve combat. Your guys took that damage. I take 6 because my armor prevents 3 of it. And my deck takes 1, so it'll lose a card, and it was a basic tactics.
All right.
So, and that's that.
So these guys move up?
Yep.
All right, and that's it.
All right, so I will untap. I am going to draw 2. I am going to play an assembly. And then I am going to tap for another Hatamoto Chi. I'm just shorthand playing it, paying for its resources and stuff like that. So, and then I can I can spend one to repair this Hatamoto now because I have the assembly. During my repair reload phase, I can spend one to take a point off of him. And then during my missions phase, I could attack you. I don't think I win this trade if we keep going back and forth. I can actually assign something to guard duty. So I basically just put the mech in a physical place, and it can block that regardless of speed. So right now, all your guys are medium speed. They can just run right past my guy.
Oh, okay.
He's not fast enough to keep up with it. I'm going to assign the Hatamoto Chi to guard duty on the stockpile.
All right.
So if you attack the stockpile, he can block. If you attack anywhere else, he can't block. So he's kind of stranded over here. The other Hatamoto Chi is going to come out, and it is your turn. Go ahead.
I draw my cards. All right. I'll pay and deploy this here Hollander again. So I get
good night, Roar. Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, take care.
The endless waves of Hollanders.
Yeah. Okay. Play this thing as well. And then I'll move on to my missions.
Okay.
I guess I can pump some.
Yes.
All right. So I can basically attack things that aren't your deck for free.
Yep.
Right now.
Is a fact.
So I could blow up one of your resources, which seems pretty cool.
Yep. Yep.
So if I send these three guys at that,
I can't block it.
I guess I would only need these three guys.
Yep. Yep. So I couldn't block.
Yeah.
And you blow up my weapons depot.
Okay. And then my Falcon Hawk, I don't think you can really economically attack anything.
Yeah, since he bounces off the.
So I think he's just done.
Okay. All right. So my turn. I'm going to untap. Your other Hollander comes to play. I will draw. I am going to deploy tactics. And I'm going to deploy an avatar and spend 5. And missile 1, overheat 1, C3. Still slow. I'm going to assign this Hatamoto to guard duty for my command zone. So if you attack into the command zone, then the Hatamoto can then block.
So you get a lot of Hatamoto defenders.
Yep.
All right.
And go ahead.
Draw one. Draw one. All right. So deployment. Play the Saladin revealed. You just deployed for free.
Yeah. So I'll take a side note here, and the Saladin was actually part of a deck that got the rules of the game changed.
Okay.
So in the set that Saladin came out of, called Arsenal, this is when they actually introduced vehicles for the first time. And vehicles broke the game in half. The reason being that all of these vehicles there was a whole series of these guys that you could deploy revealed, and they did not count as a deployment. And you'll notice that this theme continues into this deck. There were a number of these vehicles that were like this, and so you could build a deck that you could just play your whole hand on the first or second turn, and you would have like 5 vehicles out. And even though they were terrible units overall, you could just swarm over the opponent. In that situation, like you notice how it took me like a couple of turns to get some guys off the ground.
Yeah.
If you just had enough to just blow up all of my resources, then I'd never get anything out the door. So yeah, so what they had to implement a rule that said your deck could not contain any more than 20 copies of vehicles.
Vehicles total.
Vehicles total.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna pay that and this to go to 4 here to play this here improved construction facility.
Yes.
So that comes into play. It taps for 3 resources.
Yes. Yeah, it's very good.
And then I'm gonna pay 3 and 1 on this guy.
Yep.
Play another one. So even more resources.
Yep.
It's 3 and dynamo over here.
Yep.
And I'll play 3 to put 3 on this thing.
Okay.
Whatever that is. And then I still haven't made a deployment. I'm just gonna deploy both these cards in my hand.
Sure. Yep.
Alright, so I'll move on to missions.
Yep.
Feeling like we're just YOLO. All these guys. What's the worst that could happen?
You can also attack one at a time.
That's true.
So
does he exhaust if he blocks?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So you could attack until I block, and then everybody else can get through.
I see. So
once he's tapped, he can no longer block.
So this Hollander is going to attack your deck.
Okay, sure. I will defend with this Hanamoto.
Okay. Choke is a viable strategy. Yeah, it seems like it because you could attack the resources directly.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, the thing about this game, one of the major differences between this and Magic is that there were a lot of avenues that you could attack, and I would actually say that this is where this game feels like a very major cross between Netrunner and Magic, because you've got the other zones that you got to worry about defending, like Netrunner, and then your resources are more like Magic. So
don't let him distract you from killing the Charizard.
Okay, so I am defending. Okay. I've got more tactics, so you have to declare what you're going to do first.
I'll do long range.
Okay, so you do long range for 1.
Yeah.
I have no way to stop any damage. So, I will overheat for 2, so that I'm doing 4 damage. I take 2. I take 1. It doesn't get through my armor, but I'll blow up the Hollander.
All right.
Yep.
But he can't defend now. But he could still defend there. Right?
I guess he's slow, so you can run right past him. And he's defending over there. He's defending these. Yeah.
So I want to run right past him.
Yep. So you hit me for 9. So
all right.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9.
All right. And this guy moves up.
Yep.
And that's it.
All right.
Untap her and
okay. So untap, and I draw 2. 1, 2. All right. I am going to deploy improved construction facilities. This card was like a staple when it was printed.
Oh yeah, it seems stupid.
Yeah. So I'll spend 4 to play it, and it comes out ready. And then I am going to deploy a card and spend 4 to build a blackjack. And mission phase. I think I'm going to send the avatar at that.
Okay, so it's gonna.
You can defend with the
Saladin.
Yeah.
Salad man. I'll just let it go.
Sure. It's destroyed.
It's a pillage.
Oh yeah. Put that guy out there. Look at this bad boy. This is signed.
It's
signed
by the artist.
Doug Chaffee signed, and I think Doug Chaffee actually passed away.
Oh wow.
But he was local to Greenville.
Okay, cool. It is 8 damage.
Yeah. Look at that. Look at that bad boy.
This is a big chunk.
Oh.
So. All right.
And then end of the turn, I am going to restock a card.
I know it was chilling in gross sleeves too this whole time.
Out comes the blackjack, and it is your turn.
Okay. Draw a card. Draw a card. Okay, I will play card. I will play that. Play Hollander face up. I will pay this to finish the construction on. Oh wait, I'll pay this at 3 and this to pay for that.
Oh yeah,
Other construction facility. I'm gonna pay
now it comes with
3
fatties
for this guy. This Annihilator N1H N1A guy, and then I'll put 4 on this thing. Whatever this may be. Alright.
So it has the text cannot block unless guarding. That means it's a very, very slow mech.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh, so it has to be like assigned to guard something to be able to block?
Yeah, so when you pay for something, it just goes to your command zone. You can use it immediately. So
Alright, and then my missions phase. So I still can attack your deck very slowly.
Yep.
I'll do. They'll send one. Well, it's like a dead Hollander, I guess, at this point. But
yeah, it's one of those where you kind of have to decide.
Hollanders, so I'm just gonna keep going.
Okay.
I'll attack the deck.
Sure, I'll defend with one.
Okay.
And you get to decide first.
I will long range.
Okay. And I will overheat to kill the Hollander.
And then I'm gonna send the rest of the deck.
Okay. No blocks. So
Alpha strike this guy?
You can, yeah. So he'll flip over.
Okay.
So it's 3, 6, 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay.
And then these guys move up?
Yep.
And when does he flips back over the end? My next turn?
During your reload and repair phase.
So that next turn, okay.
Yep.
Alright, so that's it.
Alright. I will untap. And I will draw 2.
Was this card like was it all chromed out? Oh yeah, that's pretty cool actually.
Alright. Yeah, 4, 5, 6. So A. Okay, so I will spend 4 for the Hatamoto Chi. I'm going to deploy, and I'm going to spend 2 to play the Venom Revisited. So this actually has an ability that says you may move Venom to your patrol region as soon as you activate it. So it's fast. It's actually so fast that it can move from your deploy area to the zone. There was an infamous deck that used this mech called the Dasher D, and the Dasher D ended up getting banned, I think. It was like one of the few mechs in the game that got banned. Most of the stuff that got banned in the game were like command cards, just because they were degenerate. So the Dasher D, same kind of thing. It cost 2. I think it had 3 attack, and it could go from your construction to patrol basically immediately.
It's like haste.
Yeah, and it could overheat for +3 attack. So it was like a 2-cost thing that hit for 6. Now it had no armor and it had 2 structure, which means it died to basically anything that touched it. The problem was it was fast, and it was combined with another card called Elite Mech Warrior, I believe, and it was a pilot that said the mech that it was piloting could not be blocked except by mechs of the same speed guarding its target. So you would just put it on the Dasher D, and like in this case, this guy couldn't even block it.
Yeah,
it would just like hit your deck. 6,
Yeah.
6,
Oh my
6. God. So yeah. All right. So now we move to the missions phase. So if I wanted to, this is fast. This could actually go attack any of your mechs because they're all slower than it. Now the problem is it's not very sturdy. So there's not really like a reason for me to do that in this situation. I can't like take out any of your guys. I think honestly the best thing it can do, well, it could take out that, but I could take it out on the following turn. I may need it to block some other stuff. Seeing as how I have been taking a whaling. Let me just leave it out since it can block. It could block like one of your slow attacks. Now, do I want to put these guys in front of the deck? I think I might. I think these guys are going to go on guard duty as well.
Jeez.
You just got too many guys for me to really compete with. And then that'll be my turn. Out comes the Hatamoto, and I am going to restock this.
Okay.
I have played games that came so close that it came down to me aggressively restocking in a game. So it's one of those like I feel like it was like a skill testing thing in this game, like knowing
when to restock.
Yeah. Technically, this won't flip until your reload repair phase, but not that that really matters here. So,
all right. So I will deploy stuff. I'll play this logistics.
Yep.
I play this Bandersnatch.
Oh yeah, that's a good card.
Okay, I'll put it over there. We got Missile 1, Alpha Strike, +2 attack, 2 armor, 7 health, cost 5, does 4 damage.
Yep. He's got a little bit of everything.
Yeah. Then I will finish construction on this big boy here. This costs 10. It's called Gunslinger.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Look at that right there. Got jump, 3 armor, 9 health.
Yeah.
7 damage. ECM. Each mech in a group includes at least 1 mech with ECM. Gets +1 armor. Okay.
Yep.
If it attacks and is blocked, it may deal up to 2 of its damage to the target. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I like it.
Yeah. I don't hate it. I do think there's a lot of white space.
Right.
I think it's less egregious on like the command cards, and I think the revamp there.
I do like these. The layouts of these.
Those look awesome.
Yeah.
One, it's just like it makes the art look so much crisper.
Right.
So yeah.
Now then, this is tough.
This is where it starts turning into a board game.
Yeah, because I don't know what the heck's going on. So I feel like I'm just gonna send a lot of mans to die. I mean, this Annihilator is called Annihilator, so he's got to do something.
Yeah, it's gonna annihilate.
I'm just gonna send everything at the deck.
Everything at the same time.
Well, I guess is that no? I mean, it's fine. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll try to like put a dent in your defenses. I think.
Okay, sending everybody.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, strategically, if you send this guy, I can then block with all of my mechs because this guy's slow and they're attacking at the same speed as that.
Oh, so okay, yeah.
Yeah, so that is like a decision point. You could make it so that these guys attack and only get blocked by these.
Okay, that's what I was wanting to do. I didn't. Okay, yeah.
Okay, sure. So yeah, I will.
But he could block, right?
He could block.
Okay,
yes,
that's
fine. I think my Venom is more valuable not blocking. So I will defend with all 3 of these.
Okay.
And now we have ourselves a proper combat.
Okay.
We've got ourselves a nice combat now. All right. I need to actually look up the timing on missiles real quick. Do that.
Diving into the rules.
Diving into the missiles. Yeah, Control F missile. Misspelled missile. Missile. It only appears 25 times in the rules.
That's quite a lot.
Okay. When you assign a unit's damage, decide whether to fire its missiles as well. If you do, assign each of its Y missiles to anything its normal damage could have been dealt to. Though if your unit is attacking you, may fire the missiles at the target even if blocked. So you could actually shoot the missiles over a target.
Okay.
All right. And so then I assign the missiles and I have no idea how much damage they're going to do, basically. and then we determine it at the end of combat, I believe. So I do have munitions because of this, so my missiles will hit on a 3.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I have 1 tactics. So I've got 1 initiative. You have none. So you get to assign all of your stuff first.
All right. So I basically only have the long range to deal with, so I'll just do all the long range.
So do the 3 to the deck.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll just go ahead and flip those 1, 2, and 3. All right. And then you've got 6 damage that you can assign.
Okay.
1 per mech, and then 3 from him.
So I guess I can just do 6 to that guy.
Yep, and that'll finish him off. Yep, so 6 finishes him off, so he's toast. So I will overheat with him, since he's going down. He's got 4. Now, these guys are both +2 attack because of the C3. So this guy's hitting for 5, this guy's hitting for 4. So that is 13 damage. I can overheat him for 1. You didn't do any damage to him, so I can overheat him for free. So that puts him to 5 attack as well. So 4 and so 14 damage. So I think I'll do the 14 like that, and then I'll fire a missile into the Hollander.
All right.
We'll see how much the Hollander takes. Nothing. Hollander escapes. So, all right. These guys go back to guard duty. Those mechs explode, and my deck took some damage.
All right. Then this guy can go to the deck as well.
Yep. All right. I think I'll block with the Hatamoto to keep him from doing too much damage to the deck. Same thing. Tactics. Got 1 tactic, so you have none, so you get to decide what you want to do.
I will not Alpha Strike.
Okay. So you're doing 3 damage to him. I do 3 damage back to you. You've got 3 armor, so nothing happens. So.
Okay. All right. That's it.
Oh,
so
yep.
This flips.
Yep. Yeah, actually, that would have flipped before that phase, but
then,
yeah, it doesn't untap.
It doesn't rage till next turn.
Yeah.
And then these guys come up.
Yep. Okay, and my turn.
Yes.
So these are gonna untap. Killed a bunch of Hollanders that turn. All right. I will draw 2. 1, 2. That's 4. That's 4. Okay, so I am going to spend 4. I'll deploy this and spend 4 for the Long Tom Battery. This is actually one of my dad's favorite cards. I feel like he always used this in decks. This taps to do 3 damage to any one site. Uses ability only during your missions phase, but not during a mission. So basically, this is an artillery thing that I can use to shoot any location, including your deck. So it can just tap to do 3 damage to the deck. Now,
that seems good.
It's got no armor and only 3 structure. So if you attack it, it's very easy to blow up. My dad used to combo it with a card that you destroyed called Hidden Location. It says play only on a command card, and the card cannot be attacked. And then you put camouflage counters on it, and then it slowly uses the camouflage counters. And so the idea was that you would deploy a Long Tom Battery, get the hidden camouflage on it, and then you could use it to snipe. If you have multiple Long Toms out, you can just start blowing up resources.
Yeah, that's cool.
All right, and then I am going to spend 4. Oh, I'm sorry, this Hatamoto died.
Yes.
I am
Judge
to spend 4 for another blackjack. And okay, so the Venom, I can actually get some damage into your deck with Venom. I think I might do that. Oh, that's why the Venom should have attacked it, because it's fast now. I can't actually attack into it. Yeah, that was dumb. That's the rust right there showing. So the Venom is gonna go attack your deck for 2.
Okay. They're good meals for me, I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah, you don't want resources now.
Yeah.
So okay. That's my turn. I am going to restock a card. So I actually am restocking something because of meta knowledge. My dad loved this card called ISF Counter Espionage. And basically it was like a counter spell for a type of card in this game called subterfuge cards, and they almost always did like direct damage. You could use subterfuge to do like different things. One of the most popular subterfuge cards of all time got banned. It was called Inside Job, and it was free. And when you revealed it, for every 2 resources in excess of its cost, you got to make 1 mech unblocked for the turn. So it was really dumb in a board state like this, because you're just like, my whole board's unblockable, blow up your deck. So yeah.
Okay. All right. So
yes, assassination was a subterfuge. So yeah. Anyway, I'm restocking this because I never played with subterfuge. Subterfuge is for cowards. Subterfuge is for people who don't understand how to attack with mechs.
Oh, bro.
Oh man, some fatties, isn't it?
All right.
Out come the fatties.
I'll pay another 10 for another gunslinger.
Oh god. Oh god.
I'll play this and put a 3/4 on it. All right.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was supposed to long tom you. Just mill 3.
Okay.
I was supposed to do that last time. You can also use long tom blow up what your opponent's deploying. It's
That's
just
pretty good. Yeah. All right. So. You block with a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
It's about just time to have a giant mech fight.
That's the purpose of this game after all, so.
Okay.
And you can kind of see how I was talking about how combat in this is much more interesting than combat is in Magic, because you have to like make a lot of decisions. I sacrificed tactics in that deck because I felt like the quality of mech that I used for the most part was strong enough that it didn't feel the need to necessarily like have to know what my opponent was doing.
Okay.
So
now, can I attack just this guy, or he can't attack because they're both fast?
They're both fast.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if I attacked with these guys there, these guys couldn't block.
Correct.
But they could, and they trash these dudes.
Yeah. But then again, you got your big papa sitting off to the side there.
Yeah.
So I mean, these guys
but
hit
if
for
they
like,
attacked and you didn't block, then they couldn't block these guys. Or if you did block, they couldn't block these.
Yes.
So it's not a terrible idea to throw these.
Correct. Correct.
Maybe even like 1 at a time.
Yeah.
Because
these guys
anyway.
These guys block better as a team because of the C3.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. While these guys like overkill them.
Right.
The big thing is that these guys are worse separate.
Okay. So yeah, I'll do like that. So I'll attack that area with the
no block.
So I'll do 2.
Yep.
And I'll attack it with the Saladin.
No block.
So I'll actually flip them. And I'll strike to do 3.
Yep.
And then we'll do all the fatties over there.
Okay. Yep. All right. Here we go.
Okay.
Big fun mech fight.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I'll defend with these guys.
Okay.
And these guys are guarding, but all right. So you've got a cool 17 attack currently. You could jump with the gunslinger if you wanted to. I believe ties still go to the attacker if the initiative is the same. Initiative is mentioned 71 times in the rulebook. Okay, so determine who wins initiative. During a battle, you and the defending player determine who goes first and who second. Player who ends this step with the higher initiative score wins initiative and goes second. Ties always go to the attacking player. So you could choose to give this guy -1 attack to give yourself an initiative and to see what happens.
I think it's probably worth it.
Okay. So he's jumping.
Yeah.
All right, so we're tied in initiative then. So I have to go first. The gunslinger, I gotta get the gunslinger off the table because another one's coming, and ECM is also bad news. So I'll assign a missile to the Bandersnatch. So the missile's going to the Bandersnatch. I don't. I think I leave nothing on the table. I think we just overheat.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, yeah, we're overheating. I could jump my guy. Like I have two guys that could jump. To give myself the initiative over you. Um, but I don't think I'll worry about it. So he's gonna overheat. So he's already taken two. Um, he can overheat. So he's taken one. This is where I said that the dice matter. Gotta get these. These are the actual vintage dice from the Battletech starter.
Oh wow.
These black and red dice. These were we joked about how these were banned from Warhammer play because you always wanted to roll a 1 through 3, right?
Yeah.
To hit with missiles, and so but in Warhammer you wanted to roll 6s. So you would attack somebody with this in BattleTech and you would roll like a 6. And so when you would go to roll these in Warhammer, you're just like rolling 5s and 6s the whole time because that's what missed with missiles in this game. Anyway, so I'll assigning the missile to the Bandersnatch. He's overheating for a point. So C3 is on all of these on these three guys. So I've got 4, 9, 14, 19 damage. That needs 13 to die. So I'll put 13 into that. I'll put the remaining 6 into him.
Why does it need 13?
Because ECM gives every mech +1 armor in its group.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's got +1 armor, he's got +1 armor.
Okay.
So I'll put the other 6 into the Bandersnatch. So we got a missile left over. Okay, that's me.
All right. So I'm doing 6, 13, no, 12, 16 total damage.
Yes.
And a missile.
Yes.
The missiles don't result till later, right?
Yes.
But I can also shoot my missile at your deck.
Yes, you can fire the missile at the deck, yeah.
Like I'm going for maximum deck damage, so
yeah.
I'll also do 2 of his damage to the deck.
Okay, so that 2 is gone.
So he's actually -3 attack now, so he's only doing 4.
Yeah.
I could alpha strike. Do I need to alpha strike these? So I'm doing 14. I have 14 damage to assign right now. Stuff you have. What does that get me? I need.
So he needs 8. Yep. He needs 9. He needs 6.
6. So I think it's. If I assign 6 there, I have 8 more left. So I could do 6 and. Or I could do 6 and 8 to kill those 2 guys.
Yeah.
I think that sounds good.
Okay. All right. So your die of damage into your missile into the deck. You just roll that one.
Yeah.
Nothing. My missile into the Bandersnatch. 1. So the Bandersnatch takes 7. It's got 3 armor, so it takes 4. Okay, the Gunslinger's dead. The Hatamoto and the Blackjack are dead.
All right. And then this got flipped. No, it just flipped. Yeah. And then, but this comes out.
Yep. All right. So that's still blocking, and we. Okay. So I will draw 2. 1, 2. I am going to spend 4 for improved logistics. Spend 3 and 4 for a blackjack. The Venom is going to go take out this now. The Hatamoto Chi is going to come off of guard duty. And then...
I don't ever plan to stop giant mech attacks.
The Avatar's coming off of guard duty. Alright. And it is your turn. Oh, Long Tom. I will Long Tom the deck for 3.
Sloth Squad.
God, that's gone.
For logistics and striker.
Okay. Oh, no. These don't attack. So, all right. Go ahead.
Drop. All right. So I'm gonna pay for this.
Big fan of mech battles. Yeah.
Bandersnatch.
Yep.
Is it you just get one logistic of the turn, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'll deploy this. Pay for that. Improve construction facility.
Yeah, there's like nothing. There's like nothing in the game you can't play now.
Nah, yeah, exactly. All right, and then I go to repair reload. So can I repair the damage off this guy for all that?
Yeah, just spend 1 point to repair once.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There were some other. I want to say there were other command cards that you could spend that would like let you repair mechs more, but you didn't leave damaged mechs.
Can I only do that if I have assembly?
Yes, so you can't do that.
I can't actually.
You can't actually do that because you don't have assembly. Yes.
All right. ALS slow mans. Hollander can get in for free though, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, he gonna do that.
Okay.
So that's 2 damage.
He's for 2.
Yeah. Then,
this is something my dad liked playing.
Over there.
This was this is a hilarious card. It has 1 armor and 1 structure, but it attacks for 9.
What?
9 damage.
Huh. Okay.
Hit him for 9. You could I believe you could heroic sacrifice it, because it's the kind of thing that would just die. So you just have like this slow moving SRM carrier, and you're just like heroic sacrifice. It just flies into your opponent's deck and hits him for 9s.
I think I'm just gonna send it all into the deck.
Okay, now I'll defend with everything.
Okay.
All right, because I gotta like slow the onslaught of your dudes. All right, I've got tactics.
All right, I'll jump this guy.
Okay. I could jump, but I think I just need all the damage that I can get, so I'll just yeah, that's fine. I'm not jumping. I will overheat Automoto. I'm gonna overheat the Avatar. They don't have any. This has got a missile. I will fire. So he's got 4, 9, 19 damage. So we needed 13 to take care of him. So 13. This needs 6 to take care of him.
19.
Yep. Sounds like that to me. And then I'll fire the missile at the Annihilator.
Alright.
So.
Alright, so I will do 2 of his damage to the deck.
1 and 2.
I'll fire a missile there.
Okay. Okay. And then you get the rest of the damage.
Alright, so I have so that's he's -3, so he's at 4.
Mm-hmm.
And then 8.
Mm-hmm.
And then 14.
Mm-hmm. And you know this is dying, so you can alpha strike it.
Okay. So that's 16.
Yep.
Okay. So I need 11.
You need 9 to
kill this guy. What did I say, 16?
Mm-hmm.
So if I did 9 to that guy, I had 7 left, which isn't quite enough to...
Yeah, you could do 8 and 8 to kill these guys. Or you could do
9 there.
8. You can do... Yeah, you need 9 there. Yeah, yeah.
Or I mean, I could alpha strike this guy to do 9 there. Is that where I was at?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. You could alpha strike for another 2 and then give you 18.
Yeah, to do 9 and 9.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I'll do that.
Okay. All right, so these guys are dead.
Guy's dead.
Yep. Missile will bounce off the armor of the...
Regardless, and then I'll roll my missile.
Yep. Nothing.
Dang. And this comes up.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, my turn?
Yes.
Okay, I will... Is that under construction or in your hand? Did you mean to restock
that? In restock, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so I will draw 2. Quickly running out of resources here. I believe it's when you go to draw a card and can't. Is the lose condition. It might be when the last card is removed. Your stockpile runs out of cards as a result of this, you lose. Yeah. So I would have to
drawing.
No. Sorry. If your stockpile is damaged, scrap a number of cards. And if your stockpile runs out of cards, so yes, yeah.
You lose when you draw them.
Is when I would take damage. Lose. Let's see. Nope. Yeah.
So your deck's just empty.
I think if the deck is empty, I lose. So
okay.
I can't kill you this turn. I can. I think that's 8, 9, 10. I'll play my own gunslinger. I can send. I can go out with a Blaze of Glory, I guess. Where I'll just send these guys to the deck. That's hitting you for 10.
All right, take 10.
Yep.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There 12 cost mans here. I want that.
Yeah, it's the sweet.
Oh, yeah, the Thunder Rock guy. I already showed him off.
And then I'll do 3 damage to the deck with a Long Tom.
Okay. Boom.
And then the Venom can attack it for 2. And that's that.
All right.
I'll lose on the next turn. So.
Cool.
Yep. It's the Hollander can just run past me and blow it up. So.
Bang.
Bang.
I'm great at this game.
And there you go. That's cool. Battletech.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, like I said, I think the combat is much more dynamic because you had how many cards left? I didn't get any attacks early on.
3, 6, 9, 12.
12. Okay. One good hit, I'd
right.
say. I took a lot of damage early because that deck leverages the really fast dudes to keep your opponent on the back foot so it could set up the phase of the game where you can play the big guys.
I see, yeah. I understood kind of as the game was progressing, that was sort of the plan.
You drew like in a expected way with that deck.
Okay.
The nice thing about like logistics and restocking cards is like if you draw those fat dudes in the early stages of the game, you can't play them, just throw them under the deck. Because you'll draw into the fat dude sooner or later. So.
All right.
Yeah, there you go. That's Battletech.
That was our Necromancy.
We brought it back.
Pretty neat. High Battletech search on eBay spike. we're gonna increase the
tens of clicks.
Wow.
But I mean, I loved this game. So what we did not do is we did not play with the box powers. And the box powers were things that were added to the game in Commander Edition. So that was when the new layout came out. And that deck is actually even better when you factor in the box power.
What the heck are you talking about? Claymore asks, what would be something good to buy to get into the game? That's correct, Andrew.
Pump and dump.
You just buy it from Nathan right now.
Yeah.
For the
I get it. Yeah, I mean, I was searching the boxes. I mean, sealed boxes of this game go for like $300. So I'd let this deck go for $150.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can get into the game. I don't even know if you can find these Commander Edition starters, but these would be a decent way to go. The box powers were basically something that every faction had access to, and in my opinion, they were not balanced. This says scrap a card from your hand to gain a resource. Use this ability only during your deploy phase.
Every turn?
Yeah, so you could just pitch a card in your hand for an extra resource. This is an extra resource that you start with.
Yeah.
So just imagine that deck where you have like the opening turn where you start with like 3 Hollanders. Because you can play your 2 resources for free, and then you can pitch another card from your hand. And then Luthien here says scrap a card from your hand to give an attacking mech +1 attack. Use this ability only during a mission, only if that mech is attacking alone. So if you attacked with a lone, you could scrap a card from your hand. What scrap means discard,
right?
And get some extra damage.
Interesting.
So every faction had what was known as a box power. That's actually a holdover from Legend of the Five Rings. Where each clan had a box power, a stronghold that you started with. So that's when they introduced that. So Yeah, I really loved this game. There was so much cool stuff in it, and you know, you had characters from the books that I read as a kid and really enjoyed. This mech here, like Yin Lo Wang, was like one of the main characters in the book's personal mech, and you know, so it was one of those when this was announced for the game, I like lost my shit. I was like, oh my god, I can't believe they're printing Yin Lo Wang, man, that's so awesome.
The zones were really interesting and intuitive. I like the fact that you could like guard the zones,
and that's very
cool.
it's very that's netrunnery.
The speed of the mechs was really interesting too.
Yes,
and like how they interact with each other.
Yeah, so my philosophy was that I didn't care if a mech was slow if its stats were good. Right. If I was like paying for an efficient mech, then because you could always guard with a mech that was too slow. So, but I mean, there were and actually one of my favorite decks in this game used the mechs that were free. And there were these things called contracts, which were mercenary cards. There were a whole series of these, and these were mostly rare. I think there were some uncommons of these, but the way these worked is that you would tap them and you would choose a mech, and it would get bonuses, and they would die. The contracts themselves would actually go away if certain things happened. So like if it like took too much damage, that meant the mercenaries were killed and whatnot. So I used really cheap mechs, and so what you would do is you would march your mechs into combat one at a time, and when they chose to, if they didn't block, you would like use all of your contracts then and hit the deck for like 10, and then if they did block, you just blew up a mech that you basically paid nothing for.
Wow.
So that was one of my favorite decks that I played. It was like a logistics politics deck. And a lot of people who played this game would put all 5 resources into the deck, and that was one of those things that I like realized that was just foolhardy. If I'm not
focus,
if I'm not using something that requires a resource, I want to like make sure I've got that resource in play. Then don't worry about the other ones. The vast majority of missions in this game were really bad. I didn't get this card here in this matchup, but it would have been pretty good against you. So like when you were attacking me with like 5 guys, this says that you put a static counter on each attacking mech, and then basically there's a 50% chance that it wouldn't untap.
That's pretty good.
So that's like a good way to slow people down. There was a really busted mechanic, a busted mission that like everybody played. It was a die roll card, and so I'm trying to remember for the life of me I can't remember it, but when you would attack, you would roll a die, and on a 1 through 2, 1 or 2, you would just put the card back in your hand. On a 3 and a 4, you would get like minimal things would happen, and if you rolled a 5 or a 6, you got like +4 attack, and you like untap the mech and stuff like that. So yeah, it was just like it was something where you just always played that card because it was just so good. It was like very efficient.
Big upside.
So yeah, huge upside.
Oh, well, that was
there we go.
Necromancy.
Card game Necromancy.
So that was pretty cool. So we're glad. Thanks for everybody for watching. Showing that you will still watch us even if we're not playing Keyforge. We actually really appreciate that.
I'm glad I got a chance to show off this game. There's not really any gameplay videos for this game out there.
Well, now we got one.
So we got one now. We got one now with like an hour prelude where I just talk about the game. So.
Schedule. I'm glad you asked now. Because I have, in fact, constructed the March Madness bracket.
March Madness brackets. We've all you got now.
See it first here. Tabletop Royale, March Madness Pandemic Edition.
Yeah.
I did name it that.
The Pandemic Edition, yes.
So, we got some of your favorite decks from the tournaments. We have some... Oh, that's not right. Hold on, I gotta change this so that the first deck is not... Oh, it's too late. It's already seeded. Already effed up the seeding.
I guess we could fix it.
Nope.
Nope.
Can't fix it.
Can't fix it.
Nope.
That was the seeded.
We can just skip this first match. How about that? Because I put the deck that we haven't opened yet against Corporal Barkus Rex first. So maybe I should do that.
I think that's fine. I think
is that hilarious?
I think any deck's trial by. I think based off the decks in this tournament, this deck had a pretty good chance of getting squared up against a banger.
All right.
So
yeah, that's fine.
I think Barkus Rex has its own game plan, but it does get. It's a random.
We'll kick it off with a bang. How about that?
Yeah.
Catherine is there.
Catherine. Unknown challenger.
I have some decks that we haven't actually had on stream yet. My deck from the Vault Tour in Richmond, which I got top 8. Nathan's deck from Vault Tour Richmond is there, I believe, right?
Yep. Config.
And my deck from Vault Tour PAX.
Yeah,
where I went 5-1. I went top 8 there.
Yeah,
as well.
I also submitted mine from PAX because I went 5-1. And then made it to day 2 and lost to the guy who won the tournament. So.
My deck from Vault Tour Atlanta, where I went 4-2.
Yeah.
That was actually one of my highest SAS decks for a long time.
Yeah.
Long time.
Well, it had Fagan, right?
It's Fagan, Speed Sigil, stuff like that. It's interesting. And then I also have a deck from Nationals that was one of my Sealed Triad decks that was definitely really good, but it was always banned.
Yeah.
So I never got to play it, but every time I did get to play it, it like trashed the opponent completely. So I wanted to get some more reps with that deck. So I was kind of excited to see what that deck can do.
Did you miss card Necromancy? Are you tuning in now? Then yes.
Yes, you did. So wait about 10 minutes and then watch the VOD. Or watch it tomorrow. But other than that, it's got all the first and second place decks from past tournaments. It has the second place deck from last year's True Contender tournament, which was the what was it called? H Oathkeeper.
Yeah.
Lost to Barkus Rex in the finals.
Yeah.
That's why I put Barkus as the top seed, because he won the first tournament and he won the True Contender tournament.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. The deck is just so fast.
Also, I think it's like 2-1 versus the winners.
Yeah.
Because I know it beat Nabirus and I know it beat Andres. And Andres lost to both, so I put him as third seed.
Yeah, that's fine.
And then I put all the second place decks in seeds 3 through 6. So like Light Tasker, E. Shelley, the Mance Wizard, and Deadclaw, Lion, Osteotense are the other ones. Set distribution, I did randomize seeds. It is pretty even. I think I picked like almost even distributions between all 3 sets.
Yeah, mine was like 5, 5, and 6.
So it'll be all 3 sets and relatively even. They're not necessarily always paired differently in the first round, because I did randomize the things for the most part. So we're just gonna kind of see how it plays out.
Right.
It could go, who knows? I don't know. Who could really say? But there's your bracket. You can start filling out predictions now. I think. Yeah, you can start filling out predictions.
All right.
And of course, we're gonna give away prizes just like we always do.
We'll promote the heck out of this for the next couple of days. So.
When's it due? Sunday. So
Sunday, yeah.
Stream starts Sunday. So you have more time to work on this one than you did the last one.
Yep.
I'm gonna try. So yeah, get and share that with people. Like the more that we get, the more stuff we'll give away. So encourage others to fill out brackets, and I'll try to make a Reddit post if I can ever get time in my day and stop working. But this week's terrible for me. I think after work I passed out on the couch and Nathan's like,
I like, it's like 7 minutes before we start the bumper and I come downstairs like, hey man, you taking a nap?
Yeah.
And he was like, and he looks at the clock and it's like 7:08 and he's like, oh.
Well, the thing is that we sent most of the company home to work from home, and we had to tap into like 40 extra people to work service desk. I don't usually work service desk.
Yeah.
But
you have worked it in the past. So you got conscripted.
Yeah. So I've kind of been like directing everyone else in that service desk as well as taking calls. We as a team took like 500 calls by 1 o'clock. Yeah,
I'd believe it.
And I personally took 15-ish minute calls today, 15 plus minute calls today. So yeah. It's pretty terrible.
Yeah.
It's just people that can't follow instructions. It's 100% me walking people through instructions step by step. That's it. They can't follow instructions. They're written in a way to where if you follow them step by step, you cannot fail.
That was working at the bank. that was what made me look like a genius in front of people, was because it had to have been somebody's job to literally write every possible task down, and you could search the tasks.
Yeah.
So if you like ran into something, and that's why like I probably opened more CDs than anybody in the company, because I like knew how to follow those instructions, and then it's amazing what following instructions will tell
Tell
you.
bank stories for 2 hours. Yeah, that's
Bank
probably
story.
true. That's probably true. All right, well, that's us. All the brackets out.
Yeah.
We're going back with more Keyforge on Sunday.
Yeah.
Next time we do card game Necromancy,
We're looking at Dune.
we're looking at Dune.
We'll have to learn.
I don't even know how to.
We'll have to learn how to play that
I don't
game.
think either of us know how to play that game.
We'll have to learn how to play that game.
We might
now,
have to play off
it
stream
may
first.
come back to me once we play it.
Okay. we'll try to like learn it before
But
stream.
it's if somebody if I could
We do have the product, yes.
if I could create, if somebody like said, if you could play the Dune card game from memory without making any mistakes, we will release the coronavirus like antidote to the world. I could not do it.
You're like, I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry, the world. I'm gonna have to let you down because I cannot do it. I have no. I don't know. Like, and if let me give me like 2 seconds to find some of those cards just to preview. I gotta like run go grab some. I want you to look at these cards and tell me if you can figure out what they do just by looking at them.
There's so many weird terms on them. Let's do a quick little Eddie palette cleanser here. And look at that Eddie. Who we like? You read the card and you're like, is that even English? I mean, it's English, but it's just so much jargon. It's Dune, right? So it's just like Dune is 100% jargon. Oh, is Nathan coming back?
All right,
Sniffing the air. All right, let's check it out.
These are in their ceremonial storage shoe boxes.
That's how we used to keep cards back in the day.
So
you had to buy shoes to get shoe boxes.
Yeah.
To get card boxes.
Okay, so here we go. Actually, we got one of each starter here, but we'll get some Atreides here.
House Atreides.
Okay, so this matters. This is a box power, because the same company, Golden Unicorn or whatever they were called, Last Unicorn Games, 5 Rings, the same company that made the Legend of the Five Rings game made this. And
box powers, but
so yeah,
let's see this box power.
Can you read that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, it's got that 5 number up there. We can assume that might be a cost.
But there's a 3 in the bottom left.
It's got a 2 and a gun.
5 in the bottom right.
Yeah, there's a 5 in the bottom corner.
And there's a gun.
We get a gun for 2, and it says engage to produce 5 Solaris to your treasury. Now, sounds kind of like money to me.
It does. Yeah.
So now we're also going to take a quick look, and we're going to see these cards have 2 different colors.
We can't see that.
Of backs. Okay. We got 2 different colors of backs, which means we've got multiple decks going on.
Okay.
And so we'll just look at, so this guy's called a guard commander.
We got some chrome on this guy too. That's great.
Yeah.
All right. Guard commander is an A. He's 2 something. He's 1 something, and he's 2 something else. He may counter during battle rights.
Yep. So during battle rights, this guy gets to counter.
All right.
Sounds pretty good.
Sweet.
We got so we got like, this card says each house must pay 1 Solari per holding they govern to the Imperial Treasury. If a house cannot pay the full amount, it must reduce its favor by 1 unpaid Solari. We've got knife.
It's Robo Rosewater the game, yeah.
We've got knife tip shatters.
Just put
We're going to subdue a target blade.
Knife tip shatters. I like the wording on that.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
At least
that makes sense.
I will say
that functionally makes sense.
Subduing a target blade makes sense with what this card is called.
Yeah.
Now I don't like whether we've got any knives in the deck. I don't know. Let's figure that out.
Ooh, Paul Atreides. Here's your boy right here.
It's your boy.
It's your boy Paul.
There you go.
Oh man, look at
Mr.
that.
Atreides.
Ally, noble, heir, engaged to examine a target subdued event. Oh, okay. He's one squiggle and one eyeball.
Yeah. So I think the one squiggle is actually the voice, because Paul, for whatever reason, had the voice.
He's got the Ben Gesserit voice.
So yeah.
He may be the Quits Haderach. Spoilers.
Quits Haderach. But yeah, so
well, there's Eric Keane.
Yep. I think every deck
it's Gurney. That's Patrick Stewart.
Yep. Yeah, bro.
It's Dune. It's just Dune.
Yeah.
The titular card.
Yeah.
Show him the titular card.
Yeah, there we go. It's Mr. Dune himself.
Dr. Dune. Engaged to transfer up to 3 spice assigned to a target desert you govern to your horde.
Yep. There you go.
Nice.
Roll crits.
We have arrived on Dune.
So yeah.
I kind of want to play a Dune board game now because the board game is super great.
Yeah, it's pretty good. But yeah, there you go. That's Dune. It's a little bit of a teaser. I don't know when we'll get to this because let me find. We have the rule book, right? Yeah. Wait. Oh, the Battletech rule book. Where is this?
Jeez.
Okay. This is the Dune rule book. It is 72 pages.
What's the font size on that, you reckon?
Font size on that? Well, why? I'm glad you asked. I would say 6. Got some 6-point font for you. 6-point font.
Someone read us this. Someone read this and explain it to us. Please. Please, please. Play the board game. Man. Yeah.
There you go.
So do we. Maybe if Gen Con's never canceled this year, we could all play together if you guys go to Gen Con.
Yeah.
Since all the other things are canceled, might as well like...
It would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It would be a lot of fun playing Dune.
It would be fun.
With just random people.
Yeah, so, actually it would probably be more fun.
Yeah. So yeah, there you go. We'll samplings from the rule book.
I'm hopeful that in August we can go places again. I'm hopeful. I have to be.
House Forum. Your forum is located in the leftmost area of your house territory. Set up the forum as follows. House profile. Place your completed house profile, see pages 22 and 71 to the far left of the table. Imperial deck. Select at least 10 Imperial cards, removing any duplicates. You may only include 1 copy of any card when constructing your Imperial deck. Shuffle the selected cards and place them face down in a pile to form your Imperial deck. See deck construction page 28 to determine which cards you may include in your Imperial deck. Assembly. Draw 3 cards from the top of your Imperial deck and lay them face down in the engaged position to form your assembly. You may look at your assembly cards at any time during the game.
Okay, bye guys.
Face down assembly cards are not considered subdued.